Welcome to day 2 of the I4 intervention, and here we are today talking about mentorship with Dr. Valerie Marcano of Pawsibilities VetMed. Finding that one person that truly gets you and really understands where you're coming from is such a challenge, and that is exactly what Dr. Marcano will be speaking with us about today. Enjoy. Welcome to the second day of I4, our second round. We're so excited to have you here, and we're even more excited because we've got Valerie from Pawsibilities. I've had the absolute honor of knowing this incredible human for a little over a year now, which is crazy to say. And she is one of the co-founders and this chief executive officer of Pawsibilities VetMed, which is this incredible organization that I'm not going to try to do any justice to because she's going to talk with you about it. But I am a proud member of it. All of you after this webinar today, I'm pretty much going to guarantee you're going to want to be a member of it. And we're just thrilled to have her here to spend some time with us today. So that being said, welcome and take it away, Valerie.
Hi, can you guys see my screen now? Yes, perfect. So like Alyssa said, I am Valerie Marcano. I am one of the co-founders of Pawsibilities VetMed, which is a mentoring and professional development platform. So I'm going to be talking to you guys about a few different things today. We're going to do just a really quick introduction. We're going to go through some poll questions, and we're going to talk about what a mentor is, what mentoring is, and then dive into inclusive mentoring. We're going to do a really quick possibility shameless plug / overview, and hopefully we'll have some time for questions at the end. So I'm going to start with a brief introduction about myself. So I grew up in the Dominican Republic. I went to Bronx International High School. I moved to New York City when I was 14. And the DR, my mother is a veterinarian. So as I grew up around animals, I immediately tried to find different ways to become close to them when I moved to the US. So I volunteered at a pet shop and worked at a small animal clinic. Then I went to undergrad at Cornell University, where I continued to find animals anywhere I could. And that's where I met my husband and co-founder of Pawsibilities, Seth Andrews, who can't be here with us today because he's at work or something. Once I finished my bachelor's in animal sciences, I applied to veterinary school, didn't get in my first round, worked as a technician, applied to the second round of applications, and got into the University of Georgia, where I completed my veterinary and my PhD degrees. I did a combined program while I was out there. I was one of those individuals that shamelessly adopted more pets. So I've got 4 now. And Seth and I, along with a number of my vet school classmates, came up with the idea for Pawsibilities. So as I grew up in the Caribbean with my mom being a veterinarian, veterinarians that looked like me, I continued to see people that looked like me in this profession. And so moving to the US, first to the Bronx, then to upstate New York, then to Georgia, the diversity of individuals within the profession as I moved along, it was just less and less and less. So I tried to devise ways to increase diversity within the profession. And one of those ways was Pawsibilities, which came to fruition about a year ago. But the idea of Pawsibilities actually existed for several years before that, as we planned it in an animal health hackathon at the University of Georgia with a bunch of really cool people. So we're going to go right to the poll questions. So the first one, I'm going to put the link in the chat. If I can, let me know when you guys can see it. If you can actually click on that, I would love for you to go and answer these questions. I'd like you to let me know if you have had a mentor before, if you've had a great mentor, a good mentor, a bad mentor, and what you feel is the value of mentorship. If you guys want to take a minute to do that, let me know if you can see the link and if you're able to answer it, okay? I see somebody typing in the chat, or maybe they're just clicking on the link and it's telling me that they're typing on the chat. Like,
just to confirm, I see the link in the chat for me, so it should be there for everyone. So I think we can all get to it and fill it out.
I'm not seeing any responses yet. Alyssa, have you been able to kind of click on it and open it? And Shanna, have you guys tried to?
I'm unfortunately on my phone, so I'm trying to click all the different tabs and it's not quite working on my very small screen. But I have taken this poll before. So yes, I've had a mentor. I've had one of all of the 3 categories. And I think the value in it is how you grow and see yourself through someone else's eyes and how you become more you and grow within your profession.
Let's see. I'm seeing some of the comments in the chat. So if you guys want to just tell me, let's just ignore the activity for now. So all of the individuals on the chat, have you had a good mentor? So we heard from Melissa already.
Sort of. I don't know how good they were, but they definitely were a mentor.
Okay, so you've had a mentor. That's good.
I have had good mentors and I've had bad mentors. And the good mentor, I mean, actually, I should rephrase that. She was great and made all the difference in the world. Bad mentor, not so much.
Okay, who else?
I'll say I've had like many mentors over the years, and when I look back, I can see that I've probably had the mix of great, good, bad, and the ugly. Like I think I've seen it all. Like I've been under all of the wings, and I can remember who was my great one is like the one I'll probably remember overall.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've had them all.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad saying that I've had like a bad mentor, but now thinking about it, I feel like any mentor that that I would put the bad quotes on, I don't think any of those mentors knew how to be mentors. So that's why I feel almost bad labeling them, right? Like they're put in a position to be a mentor and they don't know how to do it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. I think for right this second, we'll skip on the question on the value of mentorship, and we're going to come back to that later. But I think, the premise of this question is to get you thinking about what you consider to be a mentor, right? So what do you consider to be a mentor throughout your career, throughout your personal life? Do you have any people around you that you have looked up to for mentorship? Have you considered them as a great or good or a bad mentor? And honestly, what we normally see when we do this poll is that most individuals have had mentors, right? And then there are a good percentage of individuals that can say that they have had a great mentor. There are a lot of individuals that will say they have had a good mentor. And then there's that whole question of like, what does it mean to be a bad mentor, right? And like you mentioned, Lisa, like we don't do a lot of training for mentorship, right? So what does it mean to be a good mentor or a bad mentor? So we're gonna move on from that. Thank you all so much for sharing. Sorry for the technical difficulties. So let me get back to the presentation. Okay, so now we're gonna go to the next activity and I'm gonna see if I can get this one to work. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it on the chat, and if it doesn't work, then we're gonna figure it out, and that's okay. So what I would like you to do is use this link to this word cloud, and I'm gonna have to log into it. Give me 1 second. And I think I have to activate it. And instructions and responses. So I see. Okay. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I think what we need to do is go to pawsibilities.com, and you're going to enter Pawsibilities Vet Med 628, which I know is very long, sorry. Or you can text Pawsibilities Vet Med 628 to 37607. And what I would like you to do is give me words that you think describe a great mentor. I feel like I should have some elevator music playing now, like do 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 do. Makes me think of when I do Kahoot quizzes with the veterinary
Yes.
students, and it has a little bit of music playing in the background as they all answer the questions. I feel like that is the
I'll
one.
put it in the recording. It'll be
Yes,
beautiful.
perfect. That would be great. All right. Does everybody have this? Can I go to the responses? All right. Ooh, no responses yet. All right. Well, you can see at the top where you can text Pawsibilities Vet Med 628 to the number 37607, or you can go to polev.com/Pawsibilities Vet Med 68. I know. You guys didn't know that you were going to be given a little bit of work when you came in this morning, huh?
I should have warned them. I knew
I'm in the
I knew it was
poll.
coming.
It just took me a second to get texted and get set up, but I'm at least in the poll.
Awesome. Well, I think I spelled it correctly in the chat. It would be sad if I misspelled it, the name of my own organization, but I think I put the link on the chat. Awesome. So we've got a couple of words: supportive, inspiring.
Persistent.
Okay. Have you texted that, Alyssa?
No, because I'm recording on my phone. I'm sorry.
I forgive you because of your technical difficulties today. All right, so Tracy also says flexible, reliable, inspiring, supportive, flexible. Alyssa, what did you say?
Persistent.
Persistent. I like that. All right, so I think we're going to go ahead. I think it's taking more time to actually do the activity, and we only have a few minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and close it, and we're just going to skip it. Oh, look. Oh, my goodness. Look at all these words. Understanding, supportive, encouraging, doesn't corners, willing, partnership, patient. Oh, it doesn't cut corners is what I'm assuming that it was going for. Positive, inspiring, reliable. Anything else anybody wants to add? All right. So the next one is going to be words that describe a not so good mentor. So we talked about, I don't want to say a bad mentor, right? So we used that before when I asked the question, have you had a bad mentor? So now we're going to go to not so good mentor instead of saying bad, right? Because we have some confusion about what is a bad mentor. But as you guys complete this activity, I think, oh, there we go. Now I activated it. I don't know how to use this. This is the first time I've used it. So I had our program director, Heather, actually explain it to me last night, and apparently that still did not explain it well enough for me. Unavailable, negative. I'm assuming the person that put negative was the person that put positive on the other one. I don't know. Short-tempered, unavailable. Somebody put on the chat impatient. So these are just really to get you to think about, if you were to have a mentor, whether you've had one or not, what are characteristics that would kind of put you off? And what are characteristics that would make you, say, want to be more like that person? So we've got impatient, unavailable, short-tempered, negative. Anything else? Dismissive on the chat. Irritable, mediocre. Okay. Anything else? None helpful. All right. Now that you've thought about it a little bit, let's go to mentoring, right? So what is mentoring? And I wanted to do this activity first because I wanted you to first think about what you think mentoring is. And now I'm going to tell you what the actual definition of mentoring is. And I know it might seem a little bit counterintuitive, but I think it really helps for people to have this idea first of what they think mentoring is before we move on to what is, the fancy definition of mentoring. So essentially, mentoring is a long-term relationship that is focused on supporting the growth and the development of the mentee. So the mentor is a source of wisdom, teaching, support, is not somebody necessarily who observes and advises on a very specific action or behavioral changes in daily work. So what is mentoring? The act of mentoring itself is reciprocal, collaborative, and an at-will relationship. It most often occurs between a senior and a junior person, but it can also occur between peers and within a group. It's generally intended for the purpose of the mentee's growth, learning, and career development, and it emphasizes both personal and professional development. So your mentor is a role model. They provide guidance. They can help you reach your goals. It can be within a formal arrangement, but actually many times it is within an informal arrangement. And a lot of the formal arrangements tend to happen within specific organizations, whereas the informal mentoring usually tends to happen just organically. What mentoring is not a one-sided commitment, is not a passive endeavor, is not a substitute for counseling or for therapy. And your mentor doesn't guarantee, admission or a position or a promotion. They don't know everything. They're not your parent, your provider, your professor, or your manager, and they're not your coach. So coaches are a completely separate category from what mentoring is. When we talk about the benefits of mentoring and mentoring relationships, there are benefits for both the mentor and for the mentee. There's the satisfaction for the mentor of helping another person develop professionally. It can reinforce their own knowledge and learning. They can actually serve as a potential for their own professional development, expand the network of talented colleagues, and another benefit is the opportunity for career advancement. For the mentee, you're developing career-related competencies. It facilitates entry into new experiences and opportunities. It can allow for advice, encouragement, and feedback, support setting appropriate and achievable goals, and building connections, and it can also raise your professional profile. One of the most impressive things about an effective mentoring program is that these ripples just continue to go. So it can help as much as the mentor as it does the mentee. In terms of employees that participated in mentoring programs, these can be up to 5 times more likely to advance in pay grade, and the mentors even made more progress than that. So the mentees were promoted 5 times in the program, and the mentors actually 6 times more. Retention rates for different companies can be hugely increased based on mentoring. And there are great effects to diversity and inclusion that we're going to talk about in a minute. Just a few statistics on mentoring. Of those with a business mentor, about 97% of individuals say that these mentors are valuable, and yet only about a third of professionals have mentors. 89% of people who have been mentored will actually turn around and mentor others. And 76% of individuals who have mentors can't view this relationship as being really important to their overall success. Now that you have a small grasp on mentoring, we're going to do a little bit more on inclusive mentoring, as that is the premise of Pawsibilities. So when we talk about diversity, it is simply the presence of differences. These differences can be based on race, gender, sexual orientation, ethnicity, nationality, socioeconomic status, language, disability, age, religion, etc. And usually when we talk about diversity efforts, they focus on underrepresented populations or marginalized groups. When we talk about equity, equity is about justice and fairness, is looking at the processes, procedures, and resources and access. Tackling equity issues usually requires understanding of the root causes of disparities. This is a picture of equity versus equality. Then inclusion, so diversity, equity, and inclusion. Inclusion is about belonging, is about not simply being in the room or having been provided a chair to sit in, but it's actually being able to bring your whole self wherever you go. When we talk about why it matters in the workplace, diversity, equity, and inclusion are very important, not only just to be nice and to be a decent human being, but also inclusive teams make better business decisions up to 80% of the time. Teams that follow an inclusive process can make decisions twice as fast with half the meetings, and the decisions that are made and executed by diverse teams are tend to have 60% better results. So there is statistically significant data showing that having a diverse team is impactful for business. And then around the world, having diverse communities can mean all different kinds of success. I'm not going to go into the details right this second, but one of the destroyers of inclusion is bias. And I'm not going to go into a ton of detail about bias today. Just keep it in mind that it's a national inclination for or against a different object or group or an individual. Is often learned, is dependent on a person's socioeconomic status, race, ethnicity, educational background, etc. And you can have explicit bias, which is expressed directly and you're aware of it, or you can have implicit bias, which is indirectly expressed and most individuals are unaware of it as it operates subconsciously. And implicit bias is not necessarily a bad thing. It's something we discuss in the Pawsibilities training. It's not necessarily bad, it's just there, but it can mean the difference between making somebody feel included within your organization and not. When you talk about inclusive mentoring, a mentoring program is really only effective if everybody feels included, if they feel nurtured, valued, supported. And a diverse and inclusive mentoring program has to be one that includes and equally supports people of all ages, races, religions, sexual orientations, abilities, backgrounds, appearances, and languages. Often, people subconsciously choose a mentor or they choose to be mentored by individuals that remind them of themselves. This is a common sociological phenomenon called homophily, and is the tendency for people to seek out those who are similar to themselves. This is why a lot of times minority and women's will find themselves being left out of informal mentoring programs. Not like these programs are actually set up to be inclusive. So nobody is consciously setting up a mentoring program and saying, we're going to exclude group X or group Y. It's actually quite the opposite, right? We set up these mentoring relationships as a generous investment of our time and our heart. But when the mentor chooses a mentee based on homophily or vice versa, there are several missed opportunities. In reality, when you go out of your way to mentor somebody who is different from you, you're expanding your own opportunities for with your opportunities for growth, as well as the opportunities for the mentees that you're mentoring. So you're very likely to create somebody who themselves is going to become a mentor in the future. And studies have actually shown that those who have been mentored are most likely to mentor others. So this is a circle of mentors. So the more role models and the more opportunity that we create for others, the more opportunities they're going to create for others. And as we talked about, diversity is not just good for humanity, it's good for business. So as we expand who we mentor and what we value in a mentor or a mentee, we are exponentially increasing opportunities. Being mentored or having a mentor that is from a different background from your own can actually have really good opportunities for personal growth. You're learning from individuals that have different perspectives, different upbringings, different values, and this can help both the mentor and the mentee. So why are we talking about mentoring? We gave you the numbers. We told you a little bit about what mentoring is, what it isn't, and why inclusive mentoring is important. So now I'm going to tell you a little bit about my organization, which is Pawsibilities. So we are a professional development and mentorship platform. So we're a nonprofit, and we host a platform in which we network and allow individuals opportunities for professional growth. Why are we talking about diversity specifically? Because when we look at the general population, it is very diverse, right? But when we look at the veterinary profession in and of itself, it is not. And what we want to do is make sure that the veterinary profession reflects the US population. In this chart specifically, we're looking at race and ethnicity. So non-Hispanic Caucasians currently make up 86%. 86% of the veterinary profession, while Asian, Hispanic, and African American and Black veterinarians make up 6%, 4%, and 2% of the profession, respectively. The AAVMC reports actually show that in applications to veterinary school specifically, the numbers are very similar. So it's not who is applying to veterinary school necessarily. However, when we look at the general population, minority pet owners tend to have some of the lowest vet spending and visit rates, even after you control for income. There are actually studies that have shown that minority pet owners find it difficult to find a veterinarian that looks like them, and that is a real concern from them. So the consumers of our products are not necessarily reflected in what the profession looks like. And looking at the veterinary technical profession, it is actually broken down fairly similarly to what veterinarians look like within this profession. So we believe that mentoring has the power to really change the face of the veterinary profession. So our aim is to connect individuals from underrepresented backgrounds interested in the vet profession to opportunities and to potential mentors within the field. We're doing that through, as I mentioned, a platform, and this platform is open to all individuals who are looking to mentor and be mentored. Specifically, we're looking at pre-veterinary students, vet techs, vet tech students, veterinarians from underrepresented backgrounds, and we want to increase diversity based on disability status, ethnicity, gender, non-traditional path, race, sexual orientation, socioeconomic status, religion, and veteran status. You don't have to belong to one of these groups to be a mentor within our platform. These are the individuals that we're looking to provide positive mentorship to, so that they become more interested in our profession, actually join it, so that we can increase recruitment and retention. This is what the platform looks like. You make a profile, you go and look for a mentor. This is a dummy profile that I created, so of course I match with myself fairly highly, which is nice to see. So we have an algorithm in place that will actually suggest mentors for you, but if not, you can also go through and find your own mentor. We have about 245 individuals within the platform, and everybody that is willing to help is marked on the profile as willing to help. So you know when you reach out to somebody, this is what they have signed up to do, essentially. This is just a bazillion questions that I'm not going to read, but they're mostly for you to see some of the different characteristics that people are voluntarily putting on their profile, so that if when you're looking for a mentor or a mentee and you want to find somebody who is a first generation student, you can look for that person and see if they can answer some questions about what it's like to be from that demographic in this profession. We also have different groups that you can join. We have a lot of resources available and are always looking for more resources to add to our platform, and are working on better ways to display this, because it is cute when you click on it, but then when you actually click within each folder, it looks pretty ugly. So we are working on it so it looks better. And that's all I've got. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I would like to thank all of our amazing board of directors, our Pawsibilities team, our advisory board, all of our partnering organizations, as well as our 2020 and 2021 sponsors. I'm going to go back to the thank you slide because that is my favorite slide, because I actually just closed this, so that's great. I'll just move the presentation over because it took me a while to put all those pictures together, and those people are awesome. So if you have any questions, let me know. Sorry, I went over by 2 minutes.
Oh, thank you, Valerie. That was incredible. Really appreciate all of that detailed information. And I can vouch for this platform because I took the training. You learn a ton, not just about what you don't know, but a lot about what you don't know about yourself. And you get to meet some really incredible individuals. So we are beyond grateful that you exist as an organization, and just thrilled that you were able to come share that with us today. Does anyone here have any specific questions? If you're still hanging out with us, I know we're going a little bit over, but this is important stuff, so it's worth taking extra time for.
Now, close this so that we can all.
Yay. And it's okay if you don't too. Definitely where can they reach you besides the platform? Are you guys on social and stuff too, Valerie?
We are on all the social media. So we are PawsVetMed on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and we have our website is Pawsibilities VetMed, pawsibilitiesvetmed.com. There is a contact us form on there that you can fill out. Yeah.
While we're waiting on any
Excellent.
questions, I know we're wrapping up, but I just wanted to say, like, this was an amazing presentation. Thank you so much for coming. I think the one thing is that I liked was when you said it's not just good for humanity, it's good for business. Like, I was just really present to the fact that, like, if you don't see something, like Tracy said, she didn't have a mentor, like if you weren't exposed to mentorship or you don't really know a lot about it, chances are you're not going to go explore it or offer it to someone else, and then, like, you know, no one grows. So I think this is a really great opportunity to, like, add something different where it wouldn't necessarily have been before, to, like, expand everyone's growth, you know, like even just like young Black and African American students or young adults. I just was like, oh, you know what? Like, it's obviously probably very low, because if they don't see someone in the field that looks like them, then they don't know it's an option. So I think even just like getting to the young adults out there, this is really great for them to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think even if you are not, say, African American, but you want to go out and make sure that in areas where there is a higher proportion of African Americans, they know that this career is possible. We offer, professional development and different trainings that you can take so that you go in an unbiased manner and you can impact positively different communities. But we want to do a little bit of both. We think everybody should have what we call a village of mentors. So you should have mentors that are like you and mentors that are different from you, because that is what will help you grow.
That's awesome. Thank you. And if anyone has another question, I want to give room, but I just had one more if we have time.
Just somebody offering with help with polling mentor. Ooh, I love it, Lisa. Yes. I always need tech help, always.
That is
Yay.
also true. We all do. I had to have the professionals come in today. I think what really resonated most with me is what you just said there too, a village of mentors. So you can fully grow, people like you and people different from you. And I think that's so important. I've learned so much by, spending time with you and Seth and everyone on the team, and then just getting out there and really opening not just these, but this.
And I
It's
learn
vital.
every day, right? I want to increase diversity in our profession in so many different areas, and there are so many groups that I don't belong to. Like, right, I'm not a veteran. I'm not part of the LGBTQIA plus community. But we're looking for more individuals who can help us grow as a profession. We want to be inclusive, and we want to provide people with the tools that they need to be successful in this profession. It's not just saying, hey, come into VetNet is great, right? Because we have really high debt. We don't have the greatest salaries. We have a terrible suicide problem, right? But what we want is to provide individuals with the tools that they need to be successful in this profession, so that we can hopefully build a better profession for everybody.
And we need to do that together. All right. Did you have anything? I know, Shannon, you mentioned you had another comment or question before we wrap up.
Oh yeah, if we have time, my question is really just like, what do you recommend? I feel like there's probably a lot of people out there that are like, I want to mentor, or I think this is great and I want to get involved. Like, what do you recommend for someone who may want to be a mentor, or even like start a program in the organization, or like bring this to like where they work or in their communities?
Yeah, absolutely. They can contact us. We can help them get started. There are also, depending on the age groups that they're looking to mentor, different groups out there. Like Mentor Vet is another mentoring platform. A mentoring program. We have a mentoring platform. There are a number of resources out there that we can utilize. But we would love for anybody who's interested in mentoring to reach out to us so that we can partner together.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, guys. Thank you for coming to the second day, and thank you, Valerie. It's amazing. So head to their site, check them out on social, and we will see everyone back here for the rest of the week. But we cannot thank you enough, Valerie. You've really gotten us off to a really good start for the week. So
Awesome. And thank you so much for having me and for holding these. These are awesome.
oh, well, thank you. We have a great community here. Look at all these folks. Well, we can't because you're not showing your pictures, which is perfect. Anyway, have a great Monday, guys. We'll see you back here same time tomorrow. Bye.
Bye, everybody.